Good afternoon, my Dungeon Boss brethren. We are here today to do another Fad Friday. Today's topic is going to be the Golden Hero, Augustus. He is a tank. We're going to dive into him a little bit, see what makes him tick, see where he shines, where he falls short, get an overall assessment. For today's purposes, I am going to be comparing against some other tanks at his level. So if I switch my class here, bear with me, sorry. I'm going to switch to tanks. We're going to be looking at primarily level 43. There are a couple of guys here that are not 43. Basically, anybody past Baylog with the exception of Phenol. These guys are not fully ascended. They will be excluded from today's comparison. So I cannot say with certainty until a further date where Augustus falls within the rest of these. Mainly because there's a couple of those guys. Igorok, for example, has some native damage reduction. Some of them might also have some defensive buffs, but we're going to go against what we have today. One of the things to keep in mind as we're looking at today, as far as levels go in Ascensions. Oh, sorry, Croaking Bramble is also not fully ascended. He'll be one that is a little bit of a wild card here as well. So he's missing a bit of his stat bonus from that as well. But I want to point out is that there are a good chunk of legendary tanks. That's something that we're going to have to contend with at a later date when we ultimately get into a tank analysis versus just a full Ascension deep dive. So first and foremost, Augustus is a bronze hero. By all means, that means he should not be very good at all, right? That's what bronze is. It's the worst tier. My current assessment of Augustus is actually quite the opposite. I've used Augustus almost as a primary tank since I've started this game back up, and you'll see why once he gets fully ascended when we jump in here a little bit. So first things first, let's jump to his stats page. He has plenty of traits. That is always great for any hero. It's especially great for tanks, and it's especially great for him as well. He's got a lot of stuff going on here that helps ultimately bring him up to a level that makes him comparable to any of the best tanks in the entire game as far as utility and survivability. One of the things that I did not realize until I really jumped in closer was that Augustus is slow. This here is primarily what makes his defense so strong because it's got a buff of 10% on there. I had been playing with Augustus as my tank in the fourth position natively since I started, so it never occurred to me that he was slow or not slow, but he is indeed slow. So keep that in mind, especially with PvP. That's just how it is. One of the other great things is he is armored, so he takes 25% less damage from physical. There's a lot of physical attacks out there, and anytime you get damage reduction like that, it is always great. Next up is the Resolute. Whenever an enemy dodges his character's attack, the next one will be a guaranteed hit and a crit. This is great. It's just a little bit of an extra, I guess, bonus. There's not a ton of dodging in this game so far. Dodge percentages are pretty low unless you get a dodge buff from somebody else. There's only like two heroes that even have a bonus dodge percent natively, so that's not happening very often. Everybody's at dodge chance of 0 for the most part until we get other buffs in the game. So that's not really a huge deal. But if somebody does dodge him, he will do double damage on the next hit. Can't can't argue with that. Pwn demons, extra 25% to demons. Truthfully, you won't see this come into play very often. There's not a lot of demons that you're going to have to worry about. Particularly with him, you're not relying on Augustus to kill demons anyway. So, a nice PvE trait, but not going to help you in PvP unless maybe they bring Malice back or if a team is using Ella. But truthfully, nobody's going to use Ella in PvP. So, um, another one of those kind of bonus traits, but nothing really, to write home about. One of his best traits here is the shield. It starts with one stack of shield. That basically makes his first attack hit his defense infinite, because he can't be hit, with the exception of people who do double attacks, um, like um, like Hagrim, for example, dual wielders. The other thing is in PvP, when you're going on a PvP offense, that shielding doesn't really help you when you're going against like a Rayla team who's going to proc a bunch of other attacks anyways. Her attack is already very minuscule, so she's just breaking that shield anyways, and then someone else comes in, hits a little bit harder. So you don't get to really control how and when this shielded is used, but um, it's nice to have. It saves you one turn, for a strong opening salvo, and then his defense is going to kick in anyways. And then lastly, the light guard increases defense by 10% for all light allies. I wanted to bring that up because remember, like we talked about with Abigail with barbarians, um, Augustus is his own ally. So if you bring him on a light team, if you bring him on a Rayla team, for example, he's going to have 40% extra defense. That is absolutely mammoth in terms of killing. So since you're not going to be going against too many dark teams in PvP, most of the dark teams are going to get wiped by a light team anyways. You're not going to have any major elemental penalties. This defense is going to actually skyrocket quite a bit. So you take that defense, combine it with magical damage, for example, because he doesn't get bonus for that, you're going to get pretty reasonable damage reduction just from basic attacks and such like that. So out of the gate, just his base stats, fabulous for a bronze hero. You wouldn't see this for many other bronze heroes in terms of tier lists and such like that. But as far as his defense and his health go, he is second only to Spitfire. And in defense, Spitfire's got quite a bit on him. He's 1450, but Spitfire is not going to get that light guard, so Augustus is going to pass him with just basically one extra light hero on the team. And then health is a minor difference of only 20 at this level. It's very, very small. Spitfire has comparable defense because he's flying, so he's got some nade damage reduction right there. Um, but Augustus, very, very strong base stats across the board here. Let's get into his abilities a little bit. So he has a basic attack like everybody else. He's not. I don't know how to really describe him. He's not your typical tank in that he just does a couple of basic attacks and then just taunts and stuff like that. He's kind of unique on that front, but he does have his basic attack, which is unassuming. It's 469. It's nothing special. It's about half of his attack rating, if that means anything to you. I don't know exactly how that factors in with the damage calculations, but it's about half of his attack rating. His first attack, which is also probably his greatest skill, to be honest, is the ability to purge buffs. So Smite as a whole does 2.5 times his base damage, which is more than most like attackers do or warriors do for the most part. So it's a very solid attack. Truthfully though, the attack means nothing on this here. The whole point of Smite is generally if you're going against a team that's going to have an open round taunter, Augustus is always going last anyways. So if there's an open round taunt, that taunt is gone. Kiss it goodbye. So this is a fabulous ability, and not only just the taunt, but two other buffs as well. So there's not too many people that can say that. If you're going against a construct team, I don't even use this on the first turn. I keep this around until Furnace taunts, and then we use that so that we can possibly keep on going after Bobble, provided that the turns work out in such a way that you can continue to attack Bobble and possibly kill him. There has to be some criteria that lines up to make it worth it. Um, but otherwise, yeah, this buff purge, you don't get a lot of that from non-tanks, that's for sure. Or from tanks, I mean, you might get that from some other non-tanks, but it's not something you typically see from a tank. His typical tanking ability then is just another basic attack. We're fortunate that he does actually get to attack. In the past, not all taunts have actually given you an attack with it, so we do get a freebie attack. This is right around his basic attack mark. So it's the equivalent of a basic attack, but it also um, gives you a taunt. The reason that I don't use Smite very often on the first turn is because this Tank and Spank does indeed start powered. So if you're bringing William along, usually it is to protect somebody. So protecting your team usually requires a taunt. So this is a great first round skill. Holds out for 3 turns. It's not bad at all. You do have to have a pretty solid healer to keep him alive if you're going against a dangerous team, especially a team that's more powerful than you are. So keep that in mind as well. And then lastly, I wouldn't really call it his marquee ability because I think Smite is his marquee ability. But Aegis Wall is certainly where he differs from basically any other attack. He does a big heal, and then he gives everybody a shield as well. So you get that shielding plus the healing. Only downside is that it it has a reasonable cooldown. I actually don't see what the cooldown is on here. So can't really say. Here it is. Sorry, 6 turns. Yeah, so it takes a little bit for this thing to get up and running. But mid fight, if you survive to mid fight in a PvP match, that healing can be great. The 3160 is across all of your allies. If you wanted to break that down a little bit further, this roughly amounts to about his skill rating per person. So ultimately, it's not a bad heal. It's not a mammoth heal by any means, but his skill rating for me right now is just over 800. This here puts it at 4 times that, roughly. But the fact that you're getting a heal and a shield in 1 turn, you pair them with appropriate heroes, and you're saving some people and you're healing some people. And if you have a true healer on the team, then you're also healing them as well. There's a lot that can go on with Augustus mid fight that can ultimately turn the tide here. So I would be remiss if I didn't show a little bit of Augustus actually surviving. So let's take a quick jaunt over into the dungeons here. And what we're going to do is we're just going to see who's out there. My level is going to be a little bit under what I'm expecting to see, so I don't know what I'm going to have for comparable teams here. We'll go to the far right here. Construct team, that's what I was suggesting before. So they're at my level, at least. Um, Probably not the best example because nobody's going to pump out a bunch of huge damage, but we'll see if we can go through that smite rotation, and then ultimately see if we can't do some killing here. So we want to have at least one other light hero to be able to buff his defense a little bit further. Um, it feels like kind of a cheap shot to use Rayla, so I'm actually not going to use Rayla. The point is not to take a Rayla team and try to wipe a PvP team. So we'll take Masuda and we'll take Black Diamond to get 2 light heroes. And then they're going to be our damage dealers. And then we're going to take Augustus and we're going to take Nub Nub as well. So Nub Nub is our true healer, Augustus is our shielder, Black Diamond and Masuda are our damage dealers. Now notice we don't have any direct bonus damage to constructs. We're not going to have anything that's going to really aid us in that particular team. The only benefit that we have against that team is we can keep on healing, and we got good defense, and we kill Agnon, and that should be good. So nothing really, you know, I guess critical about the first round. It's just a matter of going out and attacking. I got some levels on these guys with Nub Nub and Kira, so that might be one thing that kind of saves me. Um, yeah, at level, I'm guessing Masuda probably dies there, but nobody went after Augustus. Not really sure why Agnon wouldn't have targeted him. I feel like Agnon should have targeted him because he was armored. But now the whole point here is Furnace does his taunt and we remove the taunt. And then um, it's really a toss up at this point. Do you kill Furnace or do you kill Bauble? Um, Truthfully, I'd rather like to kill Agnon first because he's going to terror storm everybody, but um, the whole point is to get the taunt off of Furnace. Since I have a light team, I will try to kill Agnon. I'm going to hit him with Assassinate next turn anyways, so we just got to stay alive long enough to do so. Can definitely see the merit in killing Furnace because of his energy reset. I also did not take into account that Stonefist was going to taunt either, so a little bit of an error on my part. But we're 2 turns in here, and after Terror Storm, my entire team is still full health, so we're sitting good there. They are still feared, so they could run away. That was the one thing that I was worried about with Agnon doing damage to Augustus. He was going to be the main one that was going to be able to hurt him, and we held out pretty decent there. Um, because of the energy reset, I'm not going to be able to get my shield up here, so um, we're going to rely on Nub Nub to heal everybody, and then we'll just keep attacking. But we're seeing that Augustus is surviving at level. He can't handle anything else from Agnon, um, but he's holding his own. Now, th- obviously, this isn't a team that I would normally pick against constructs. That's neither here nor there. We'll try and finish off Stonefist if we can. And Kyrus finally did. And we just missed it. Real bummer. All right, so we're basically at the end of the road here. No need to carry on with this one here. Um, but the name of the game here is that unless you have somebody that excels against Augustus, like Agnon does because of the elemental advantage plus the armor, Augustus is going to hold out really, really, really well. As far as a PvP tank goes, Augustus is right up there, like I said, with the best of them. And I would recommend him for any story mode type stuff because even if you're going against dark dungeons, you have that counter elemental advantage as well. So, besides strong hitting people like Lich, if he hits you with Lich Slap, for example, that's about the only real damaging thing that you'll come across that level. But anyways, let me know what you think about Augustus. Let me know if you've had success or failure with him. Let me know if you use him in PvP, whether for offense or defense, what your favorite mechanic is. We'll be happy to debate this. And then once we hit everybody at 80 full ascended, we'll ultimately line them up against all the rest of the tanks and see how the rest of the stats shake out against those guys that are not fully ascended yet. Anyways, that's all I got for tonight. I guess I will see you next time. Take care, have a great night, and we'll see you again next time. Thanks for watching my video. Before we get to our regular end credits, if you'd like to take 90 seconds and show some love to an up and coming YouTube channel, please take a quick little trip over to youtube.com/at ridiculous top tens. Get a glimpse of many different ridiculous top tens. Funny, informative, you name it, they got it. Show them some love. Tell them that Darth Craig sent you and put in some suggestions. Thank you for watching, and remember, I make YouTube videos for the American working man, because that's what I am, and that's who I care about.